So what Michael Burry's saying is that all of these hyperscalers have extended their depreciation schedule of their data centers by roughly 2x, which cuts the operating costs in half. So it's making their earnings inflate. So he's claiming they're cooking the books.
Our 7 and 8 year old TPUs have 100% utilization.
That actually justifies and validates the depreciation schedule being much longer versus shorter. And I actually think Michael Burry's got this wrong.
The debate around the AI bubble ultimately boils down to differing interpretations of depreciation, an accounting technicality that reflects the market's confidence in the sustainability of AI investment returns. Optimists point to 7 to 8 year old GPUs still running at full capacity as justification for extending depreciation periods. Meanwhile, skeptics highlight NVIDIA's accelerated annual iteration cycles and evidence that practical service life falls short of 3 years. They accuse tech giants of using accounting tactics to artificially inflate profits, masking the bubble risks lurking beneath trillions worth of AI infrastructure investments.
Under GAAP standards, these generally accepted accounting principles, when you report your operating expenses every quarter as a public company or a GAAP filer, you take your CapEx, anything that you make a big investment in, and you depreciate it over some lifetime. And there's an accounting process by which you can do an internal review and determine that if your depreciation schedule doesn't actually map to reality, you should make an adjustment. And so there's a periodic assessment that's done to do that. And just to give you a sense to your point, Jason, on the math, Google in the last 12 months made $120 billion in operating profit. Okay, and let's assume they're making $70 billion in CapEx this year. That CapEx does not get deducted from their operating profit when they report earnings. You take the $70 billion and you divide it by what's called its useful life, and you report that every year. So if you do it over 3 years, to your point, it's about $24 billion a year, versus 6 years, it's $12 billion a year. So that would impact the operating profit by on the order of, call it 10%, if the difference between 3 and 6 years. And so what Michael Burry's saying is that all of these hyperscalers have extended their depreciation schedule or the useful life of their data centers by roughly 2x, which cuts the operating costs in half when they report it in earnings. And so it's making their earnings inflate. So he's claiming they're cooking the books. But if you go back to the chart that you showed, or I could just speak to this, Google first made this change in Q1 of 21, where they said the servers are now going from 3 to 4 years. The chart shows the combination of servers and networking equipment. Separately, in 2021, Google took networking equipment from 3 to 5 years, and then in 2023, they took it from 5 to 6 years. And so this is a result of this effort where they went in and did an analysis. So what happened? What happened in the data centers is that the data centers transitioned from being primarily data storage and data transfer systems, where you would use hard drives and RAM and memory to store data and then transmit it back out, to being data processing centers because of the AI boom. So as AI became more important in the data center, more of the dollars that are going into data centers were allocated towards chips from data storage, which initially was hard drives, and you throw away the hard drives every 18 or 36 months. And then solid state memory. Solid state memory would last 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, depending on the type of memory you're using. And RAM had this kind of variable lifetime as well. And then suddenly when you put these processors in to process the data to do AI, that's the majority of the spend and the majority of the energy is going towards the processors.